New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Oh, yeah. Once again, it is time for another fun-filled, thrill-packed, and guaranteed always exciting edition of the Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. Pastor Michael Mangus with you. And we are broadcasting. We're recording early, but we are broadcasting from the super secret concrete bunker surrounded by thousands, and I mean thousands of watts, somewhere around Akron, Ohio, that is so top secret that only our lead producer, Diego Reyes, only he knows where it's at. Everyone else has no clue, including that Reverend Brzezinski, Reverend Briz, our chief inspirational officer, Robert Brzezinski, he has no clue where the super secret concrete bunker is located. And we're going to keep it that way, okay? All right. We have a wonderful show for you this evening. Again, please feel free to interact. We are recording early so that yours truly can be at his wedding rehearsal and do other things this weekend. But please feel free to interact with us by posting your comment in Facebook and also in StreamYard. And again, all my shy people out there, I know you're out there. Okay. Send me an email. pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. I'd love to talk with you during the week. So the purpose of our Fireside Chat is to talk about contemporary issues from a New Thought perspective. And again, as I keep sharing week after week with you, I want us all to have a new thought about what is going on around us and our part in healing the situation. Again, we talk about oneness at our centers. So when are we going to take that seriously? So again, we are part of the solution here. And these are my viewpoints and my opinions only. As they say in the 12-step recovery programs, please take what you like and leave the rest. We have a wonderful guest with us this evening. It is so nice to have with us our doula for grief, who's on Mondays here on the New Thought Media Network. Bonnie Gonzalez will be with us here in the second half of the program, and we will be talking about the issues that are going on and how we can use the processes that she teaches, again, to move us through the emotions. So again, Bonnie Gonzalez will be with us here in the second half of our program. All right. So let's go into the news here. Again, yours truly lives at ground zero of the happenings here in Akron, Ohio. We had the burial of Jalen Walker on Wednesday, and I do have some new news reports to talk to you about here in just a few moments. I won't read through this whole article, but this is from our local paper, the Akron Beacon Journal. It says that we must reclaim Jayland. The funeral rites mixes memories, outrage, and calls for action. And again, the reporter said, even though it was a funeral, there was a celebration Wednesday inside of the Akron Civic Theater. And again, I worked right across the street from the Akron Civic Theater for well over 30 years. A black-clothed choir stomped their feet as they harmonized Do Not Beat tune. Hundreds of people packed into the theater seats. They rose to their feet, swaying and clapping rhythmically, shouting words of affirmation. And in front of the singers lied the shiny black casket containing the body of Jayland Walker, a 25-year-old who was shot and killed by Akron police on June 27th. Bishop Timothy Clark from the First Church of God in Christ in Columbus, he told the crowd, "We should not be here today, and Jayland should not be in this box." What we cannot do, what we must not do, is normalize this. We cannot make the death of our sons and daughters at this young age normal. There is nothing right in this. Pastor Marlon Walker said this. Again, he is a national representative from the Church of God in Christ. Pastor Walker said this. He says, the tragic killing of Jayland Walker underscores how deeply dysfunctional and discriminatory American system of policing continues to be. In the wake of these high-profile police shootings, there is little doubt that Black people across the nation feel that their voices, which call out for justice, are unheard. Let me also say something, too, is that there has been, since 1999, here in Akron alone, there has been 12 police shootings of African Americans here in our town alone in the past 20-some years. Continuing on here, it says, while many of the speakers underscored the injustice of Walker's untimely death, this day isn't just about protest or activism or policy changes, they say. It's about Jayland. Pastor Clark said, we must reclaim Jayland. For the past 2 weeks, the media has had him. For 2 weeks now, the stalkers and the critics have had him. Jayland belongs to us. We must reclaim him and reframe him. Several of the family members and close friends took to the podium to share their favorite memories of Walker, lauding him as someone with a kind heart who loved to make people laugh. The Reverend Robert DeJornett, who's a relative of Walker and also a local pastor, went on to deliver nearly a 40-minute eulogy, remembering Jayland as an all-around nice person who was honest and loyal. He thanked the protesters for their support and urged unity as emotions raged throughout the city. And he said this, thank you for letting your voice be heard for our loved ones. DeJornett compelled people to turn to God, but also to get out to the ballot box in hopes of enacting change. DeJornett said this, he says, who are we to blame? Do we blame our politicians and government? First, we have to take self-inventory. If you don't take the time to vote, don't complain to me. Can I get an amen from somebody? If our politicians, our government are not doing what they're supposed to do, vote their little heinies out of there. A direct quote from Pastor DeJornett. I would have said something else, but anyhow. At the time of the service, Walker's casket, which had been opened during calling hours, was closed. Gloria Beasley, the 71-year-old grandmother of Walker's fiance who died in a car accident in May, she said she was glad that she didn't make it in time. She said, "I wanted to remember him as I knew him, but the service was beautiful. They gave him a wonderful," now she said homecoming, but I think that the reporter didn't hear it right. It's usually called homegoing. And she was a beautiful person. They would have had a beautiful future together. I'm sad that neither of them got to see it. In other news, a little girl was killed at an Akron vigil on Friday evening. She was the niece of Jalen Walker's fiance, a 40-year-old girl who died in Akron after a shooting into a large crowd on Friday, has a tragic connection to Jalen Walker, who was killed in a police shooting on June 27th. The girl, this little 4-year-old, was the niece of Walker's fiance, according to a relative. Walker's world was upended on May 28th when Beasley, 27, was killed by a hit-and-run driver on Interstate 71 north of Cincinnati while traveling with her family. Beasley's 4-year-old niece, Journey Tobert, died on Friday from a gunshot wound to her head. And a second victim, Johnny Gaither, 40, died later at an Akron hospital. This was at a vigil for someone else who died about a year ago. No arrests have been made in this so far. Also, the Akron curfew is under daily review. The Akron Police Chief Steve Milet said on Thursday he authorized officers to remove their names from their uniforms because of death threats being made against them during the protests and demonstrations over the shooting death last month of Jalen Walker. At Tuesday's press conference, Milet, who's our new police chief here in Akron, I don't think he's been on the job that long. I think like 3 months. Milet says his department has not changed its traffic stop and chase policies and procedures following Walker's death. Walker fled a traffic stop for an equipment violation and led officers on a short chase to Firestone Park, where he exited his vehicle. That chase started not that far away from the super secret secure concrete bunker. And it was for a busted taillight. So just before we started recording, there was a press conference from the Summit County Coroner's Office. The chief coroner reported that there were over 40 entry and exit wounds on Walker's body, with 5 or 6 grazing it. So he was shot well over 40 times. Again, it's been another week of tension here in Akron. And the protest outside the police station, again, is right across the street from the county building where I worked for Summit County for well over 32 years. What the protest are showing me is this. It's not just about Jalen Walker. It's about the brutality of African Americans by our police department that has happened over decades here. 80 to 100 shots fired with over 40 hitting Jalen Walker. Again, most of the protests have been peaceful here. There was a group of individuals who went through downtown Akron smashing 100+ windows. That set off the latest rounds of curfews here. An African-American pastor friend of mine wrote on Facebook that downtown Akron, with all of its boarded up windows, looks like a hurricane is about to hit it. The after hours violence has gone down. However, there still is a curfew in downtown Akron. The anger and the hurt towards the police is still there. And I agree with Pastor DeJernet in what he said at the funeral. He says, who are we to blame? He says, if you don't take time to vote, don't complain to me. If our politicians and our government are not doing what they're supposed to do, then vote their little heinies out of office. And there's still a lot of questions to be answered by the 8 officers involved. And as Reverend Elzia said last week on our program, there were over 13 officers there, all with body cams. So there's a lot that we still don't know yet. The state of Ohio has taken over the investigation, with federal authorities watching the situation carefully, and now the United Nations is involved. So again, let's see what the police chief hired from out of town does to change the situation. And I'm going to say something to our police chief and also to our mayor, Mayor Dan Horgan. Skipping a meeting last night with organizers of the protest without giving just cause was not a good idea. Why didn't you call ahead of time? The police chief said that the meeting was canceled. They still met. Please, 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 please. I'm asking all of you, please, to pray for Akron. It's not only for peace, but it's also for justice. And again, I will keep you informed of what is going on here in my hometown. You know, it's one thing to report on the news when it's out of town, and it's tragic enough. But when it happens, and it starts not that far away from you, and again, that the protests are mostly in an area where you have worked in the past for many, many, many years, again, it hits home. In other news this evening, Diego's favorite story. I joked to him about that. COVID-19. Nearly 2.5 years since COVID-19 and its pandemic began, the most infectious and transmissible variant has yet arrived. The latest version of the shape-shifting BA.5 variant, an offshoot of Omicron, is fueling a global surge in cases, illustrating how the virus has evolved and can evade immunity provided by the previous COVID-19 vaccines. In the United States here, BA.5 accounted for 65% of the new infections last week, according to the CDC. The variant is also on the march in China, raising fears that the major cities may soon reinstate strict lockdown measures that were recently lifted. However, to manage the new wave, the White House COVID-19 response coordinator urged Americans age 50 and older to get that second booster shot. American health officials are urgently working on a plan to allow second COVID-19 boosters for all adults, a senior White House official confirmed to CNN on Monday. There is no one on the face of this planet that wants COVID-19 to go back into the nothingness from where it came from. And over 100 people became infected at the annual Unity meeting in Kansas City a few weeks ago at Unity Village. So we need to take precautions and still be in faith. I do have my N95 masks ready to go that I will wear when I am in close quarters next week at the International New Thought Alliance Conference in Chicago. I'm just encouraging everyone here, again, to take care of themselves and wear a mask in close quarters and get your vaccines and boosters unless otherwise told by your medical provider. Again, there's been a lot of news and a lot of false information, especially on the vaccines on Facebook and other social media. From my research, again, I have received not only both COVID shots, but also the 2 booster shots. Our prayers are with the people in Virginia and also Sri Lanka. Several efforts continue today for more than 40 people who remain unaccounted for after severe flooding inundated a rural Virginia county, tearing homes from their foundations and damaging roads and bridges across the region. To aid to the response, the Virginia governor, Glenn Youngkin, declared a state of emergency to help with the recovery efforts. The storm was a part of several that has lingered over the county as well as the surrounding region, including Kentucky, West Virginia, and Virginia on Tuesday night. And also in Sri Lanka, they have plunged into chaos, and their president has fled to Singapore after anger grows in his home country about a refusal to formally resign. The president there has been in the Maldives after fleeing Sri Lanka on Wednesday, the same day that he said that he would resign. Last weekend's protests were among the most dramatic, with individuals setting fire to the president's residence and swimming in his private pool. How about that? And most of the protesters have vowed to continue to demonstrate until both men step down. There's other troubled places besides the Ukraine. And I know that on this program that we have been focusing on the Ukraine because that we know of many of our CSL family are either serving there or are licensed practitioners there or congregants. But there's other troubled places too. So we need, again, to let there be peace on earth and also let it begin with us. Have us stop the warring within ourselves. All right. And promoting peace, not only in our households, but also in our neighborhoods and our cities. Well, Bonnie, I think I did pretty good. 25 minutes. Now, Diego would yell at me. He would say, well, you're over time. All right. Well, in a few moments, we'll be hearing from one of our wonderful presenters here on the New Thought Media Network. Our doula for grief, Bonnie Gonzalez, will be with us here in just a few moments. We have a few announcements here, and then we'll go into a break and then come back with Bonnie. Yours truly is currently parking himself at Summit CSL. For more information, go to summitcsl.org there. And only there you will find information about our wonderful Sunday gathering at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time. Yes, that's in the morning. Yes, that is early. So grab your cup of coffee, your tea, your espresso, your chai, your boba tea, whatever wakes you up in the morning, and please join us. It's a great service. And this Sunday, we'll have our music director, the Reverend Jonathan Miller. He will be giving our Sunday lesson. So go to summitcsl.org for more information. Our services are broadcast live on the Summit Spiritual Center of Akron Facebook page, and also our Facebook page has past broadcasts of this fine program, the Fireside Chat, and yours truly when he's praying here on the New Thought Media Network. And also I have Reverend Jim's program, Reverend Jim Webb's program on our Facebook page also on Sunday evenings. So check that out. They're wonderful programs here from your New Thought Media Network. And we have news here. My graduation ceremony from Holmes Institute will be broadcast live from the INTA convention in Chicago on Thursday, the 21st at a time. Again, still to be announced. And so I would just make sure that you have subscribed to our channel so that you can pick up the broadcast of that. So myself and Diego and Reverend Robert, we are getting our stuff together, and we will be heading for Chicago on Sunday. So we will be again broadcasting the conference from the INTA convention at the very historic Christ Universal Temple, which is the church founded by the Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman in Chicago. So join us. It's going to be a great conference. All right. We have so many new programs that Bonnie would get very upset with me if I started telling you all the cool stuff that's happening here. And we are having new programs. Mostly we're starting to ramp up our fall schedule here starting in September. What I'm asking everyone to do is this: go on our website, ntmedia.org/donate. In a few days, we will have an updated version of that site with a lot more information about our shows and about the host and about all the wonderful things that we are doing in the world. So you get to partner with us by your financial donations and also for praying for us each and every day. We really do appreciate both. When you partner with us here at New Thought Media Network, believe me that you are changing the world. You are being a life changer for many individuals that will never, ever step foot into a New Thought Center. So join us, please, if you could. ntmedia.org/donate. Please give an extremely generous donation, or you can do like myself, and you can go ahead and be a sustaining donor. Sustaining donors are the individuals that help us set budgets, pay all the bandwidth, provide some of the support for us going to conferences. Again, we are here for you. That's the only reason. That's the reason why this network exists, is because we want to be able, again, to not only to affect and change your life, but also to change the life of other people around the world. Go to ntmedia.org/donate. Okay. Enough of me. Let's go to a break. As Reverend Jim Webb says, he says, time to sell some soap. So we'll be right back here after our break. This is the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network.
Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience? Or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
Yes, before we bring on Bonnie, I just want to say that if you are a ministerial student in Centers for Spiritual Living, please sign up for our fall or our winter or our spring practicum. Let me tell you something. We have a lot of fun here at the New Thought Media Network, and this is an extremely hands-on internship that we offer. We don't send you for coffee or for pizza like they do in other media internships. We have you working right with our host, right with our producing staff. We show you exactly what we do in StreamYard. Again, it's a great learning experience that you will be able to take into ministry. So if you'd like more information, again, go to info@ntmedia.org, send us a note. Tell us that you are a Holmes Institute student. It would also help us if you also mention what campus you're at, and then we will get back to you with more information on probably one of the funnest practicums that you will ever do during your ministerial education. That's info@ntmedia.org. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our doula for grief. That's Bonnie Gonzalez. Bonnie has a wonderful show on our network on Mondays called Your Doula for Grief. And it's really nice to have Bonnie on at the last minute. Bonnie Gonzalez, welcome to the New Thought Media Network.
Oh, thank you, Pastor Mangus. I was going to say, it's never the last minute. It's never last thought. It's like, I know that this was supposed to happen right here, right now, all in divine time. So it's a perfect opportunity to be here. Just perfection.
Oh, thank you so very much. So any comments on the news?
Oh my goodness, could we just turn it off? Could we just turn it off? And well, could I do a couple disclaimers first?
Yes, please do. I did mine, so you do yours.
Well, I am living down here in Jalisco, Mexico, and I've been here for the last 8 months. So I'm not in the U.S., but I was just in the U.S. For about a month in May through June. And Pastor Mangus, what I was going to say is that you can just feel the pain. The U.S. is in pain. And I can't remove myself from it because, as we say in this movement, we are all one. We are all connected. We are all connected, divinely connected. And I feel like what's happening now is we are being forced back to honor that expression, I am my brother's keeper, looking out and taking care of each other. And with all that's happened, I mean, when I talk to family and friends in the U.S., it is palpable. It is palpable. The tension, the pain is palpable. And I do want to offer just some insight around that, around being, because we are in grief. Let's say it. We are in grief. I am in grief. I am grieving. And what we are experiencing is that collective grief. We are all grieving together for the same atrocities, for the same events that we see happening over and over again. So it's a collective grief. And not only collective, Reverend Mangus, it's cumulative. Things keep happening. You know, my heart is just with the Walker family, with so many families that are suffering. My heart is there with them. And these are cumulative griefs. And think about, not only are we hearing what's happening in the news and what's happening in different parts of the world, we have our own lives,
right?
Our own personal lives that have activities that are painful and needing to address what's going on in our own lives. And with that being said, being your doula for grief, I invite you to really just allow yourself to feel what it is that you feel. So many times, and I'll keep this in the eye as an African-American woman, when I hear about police brutalities and injustices that are happening to African-Americans, I am enraged. I am furious. And I know that if I suppress that, it will come out at some other time. If the clerk in the grocery store didn't give me the right change and suddenly I'm ballistic about that, or my husband didn't make the coffee hot enough and I'm enraged. So I want to just invite you to feel what it is that you feel and know that emotions come to pass. Yes. So many people that I work with and clients will say, oh, but I feel like if I give into it, I won't ever come back. I'll be just pulled down, drawn under. It's like, no, that is not true. Emotions come to pass.
Yes.
And I offer this, though, grief cannot be done alone. I think Bell Hooks said it best, that you cannot heal from grief in isolation.
Yes, you need a community, yes.
Yes, that's why coming together, especially with this collective grief, this is the opportunity for us to come together, to an opportunity to come together so that you have a safe place to express your rage, that you're with like-minded people that can understand why you're so enraged and how that came about. So finding that safe place, knowing that community is everything.
Yes.
Community is everything. Find that group. And in addition to finding that group, I want to say this. It may be a little disjointed, but you just kind of opened the floodgates as you were
You're doing well. Go ahead.
As you're talking. What I want to say, though, number one, I have to take care of Bonnie. I have to take care of Bonnie first. What practices do I have in place that takes care of me? I invite everybody, start each day, just 5 minutes for yourself. If it's just getting up and sitting and looking out the window for 5 minutes, if it's reading something for 10 minutes, taking some time for you to remember who you are. Having a spiritual practice, really, I can attest to this. People that have a spiritual practice tend to be able to move through these kinds of events with a little bit more stability.
Yes.
I'm not saying there's times that I don't feel like I'm losing it, but feeling, yes, we can move through it. And having that sense of a higher purpose than just to be here to suffer through this.
Right. Well, we're talking this evening here on the Friday evening fireside chat with one of our esteemed hosts, Bonnie Gonzalez, who is a grief coach and also a licensed Science of Mind practitioner. We're talking about the collective grief, and also maybe you're going through some grief this evening. So again, we're doing this as a service. Again, as I was saying to Bonnie beforehand, we don't do feelings, or we haven't done feelings very well in New Thought in the past. I mean, I was taught to go ahead and ignore them. The challenge when you do that is it blocks the rest of your good in the subconscious mind. So that's why that Bonnie and I are recommending again that now we do it with the intention of moving through them. Okay, so we do that with the intention of feeling them and then moving through it. I just know, again, here in Akron, I mean, I can feel the collective grief and sadness and anger too. When I was watching the protest down at the police station after they had released the body camera footage, my energy was saying, my reading of the energy was, that was not just Jalen Walker. That was everything that has happened here in Akron. So that's why we have, we're the clergy and other people, members of the NAACP, the local government, we're all just supporting everyone in, again, raising your voice peacefully, expressing your anger in an appropriate way. The smashing of windows is not going to help. I mean, it may make you feel good, but it doesn't really. We need, like Pastor DeJornett says, if you don't like the situation, then you're going to have an opportunity coming up here in August and also in November to vote their butts out of office here. So that's so we need to be holding our local officials here in check. And we also need to be, again, keeping on the pressure to make this the last incident that happens here in Akron. I'm not sure about the rest of the country, but I'm, again, here in Akron, we can be a model of us coming together, which has been urged by all the African-American leaders around here, the urge to come together and us, again, work this out so that we have a police force that is responsive to everyone, especially the African-American community. Go ahead, Bonnie.
Yes. Oh, did it look like I was going to say something any second? You brought out. I just love the point when you brought up about anger and not smashing a window. This is where I feel that as a community coming together to grieve, that maybe there should be a place that people can go for a punching bag, to throw eggs, to break dishes, because that rage wants to come out. It wants to be expressed. And it's up to the individual what action they take to express that. And that's why I think, especially with young people, Pastor Mangus, they're looking to us. We are the elders. If we were back in our tribes and wherever, we would be the elders. I would be saying, yes, I know you're enraged. Here's 10 plates. You go and crush, break them in the woods. Come back. Let that energy settle, because that energy, that same rage and fierceness, can be the catalyst that brings about the change. It gets you fired up to say, yes, I'm going to go out and get, 1,000 people registered to vote. Yes, I'm going to go out and make sure that the streets are safe, or getting more African-American or people of color on these police forces.
Absolutely.
Having people policed by someone that has absolutely no understanding of your culture, what's going on with you. So that's where I say this as well, that we have to take responsibility for what's going on.
Yes.
We as individuals have to take responsibility. As long as we sit back and say, oh, somebody needs to do something about that. Somebody, it's like that somebody is you. That somebody is you. You have the power. We are, in this philosophy, we know that there's a power of good and we have access to it.
Yes.
Reclaiming our power. Because what happens with collective grief and cumulative grief, people start to feel a sense of hopelessness, like, wow, things are not going to change. Wow, just another atrocity. But no, this is the time to come together collectively. And as Reverend Pastor Mangus just said, world peace begins with you, with one person being at peace with themselves.
Yes.
I'm at peace when I wake up and say, wow, what can I do today? What can I do to move this needle a little bit further? And I think it's Nelson Mandela said, never underestimate the power of what you do. Never underestimate the power of what you do. It could be a small step and you feel like, oh, that's not, nope, it's going to make a difference. One step and one step and one step. And I'd like to offer this as we move through all of these emotions, to coming back to a place within yourself that you have a space where you can get grounded and centered.
Yes,
and calm.
absolutely.
Because if you can do that, when you do that, not if, it's when you do that, you can see more clearly what is yours to do. You can see what action you need to take versus a reaction to a situation. Taking action versus reacting. So that's why it's so important to come home to yourself, have some practice, have something that you do that brings you home to yourself, aligns you with whatever your spiritual practice is. And then thought, aligning ourselves with that divine spirit.
We're talking, go ahead.
Oh, moving from there.
Okay, so hi there. This is the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network. We are talking this evening to another host here on our network, Bonnie Morgan Gonzalez, who is not only a registered nurse, but also a licensed Science of Mind practitioner. If you would like to get a hold of her, just go ahead and go to doulaforgrief.com. Again, we'll put that website here up in a few moments. Guess who was on the phone?
No, Diego.
No, Jim Webb.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, so Jim is trying to get a hold of us here. So
okay.
Bonnie's also going to be on Jim's program. And we were studying last night. I'm in Jim's manifestation class on Mondays and Thursdays. And we were studying last night how trapped emotions, especially grief, really does block us from our good, block us from being able to manifest in an ease and with peace. So talk to us about that, about how emotions need to be processed through so that they don't block us.
Are coming to, everything starts with an awareness. Just an awareness, just that awareness of what you're saying, that blocked emotions not only prevents bringing in our, prosperity and being in abundance, but when we shut down emotions, say that you just can't phantom feeling so much pain, so much sadness, so much hopelessness, that you block all of that, you block that. What you also block is your ability to feel the joy, to feel happiness, to know optimism. You're blocking all of that as well. And as Reverend Webb talks about with this prosperity, that then you're even blocking any prosperity, prosperous things that can come in. I think his tagline is, prosperity is looking for you, and will you let it in?
Absolutely.
Something along those lines. And in what I want to offer people when I say about feeling those feelings, I know it's difficult. I want to say that I know it's difficult, but I invite you to just lean into it. Just maybe a few minutes each day, just maybe three minutes that you allow yourself to feel some sadness that may be there or some anger. Because the more you do that, it does come up and moves out. I think Rumi even says, whatever it is that you're feeling may be clearing you out for a new delight. So
wonderful.
See it that way, that it's clearing you out for something good to come through, to come in. That prosperity is waiting there as well. So when you realizing when you're blocking emotions, you're also blocking positive emotions, positive energy. And I think you even said it, Reverend Mangus, that what you resist persists.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite sayings.
Yes. The more you resist it, the more it hangs around. So I offer that, allowing what is to come up and come through. And know that it's passing. It's not there to swallow you in or put a hood over your head and take you away. No, it's just passing through. It just needs to be expressed.
And we haven't been very good in New Thought about teaching our people about the whole idea of not stuffing the feelings, but to go ahead and to let that come up. I had a spiritual teacher say, all my feelings come up for healing. Yeah. So as I allow that, and again, this is not to dwell in them, but this is to go ahead and to say, well, this is triggering this.
Yes.
The more for me, I'm just going to talk about me. The more that I meditate, the more that I do spiritual practice, what has happened over the years is there is an observer self that's developed that for me tells me, well, this may not be the right course of action when someone cuts you off on the freeway. Maybe it's not a good idea to chase him down.
Or to give him the number one sign, right?
Oh, yes. You tell them that they're number one. Absolutely. Well, if I have to do something like that, well, that's not too ministerial of me. But no, I think that the whole idea of the appropriateness of our feelings, our emotions, that a lot of, again, of teaching our young people that to really to channel that anger and rage towards something constructive rather than something that's destructive. Here in Akron, the one thing that they have not reported on is that there are individuals who are with these protest groups that are not a part of Akron. And so the local leadership of the African-American clergy have been saying, this is our problem here. We need to be working on, again, solutions here. Yes. And we also need to be working on the systemic issues of, again, of poverty, of full employment, of giving, again, African-Americans, again, an even playing field. That's not happening yet. Yes. But again, that we are putting that out as a vision of something that can happen. Absolutely. So again, we're not here. I'm not here and Bonnie's not here just to go ahead and to bitch and complain about everything, but we're here to say, listen, it's okay to feel what you feel. Again, that you go ahead and resist. What happens is it persists. So what I tell my congregants and also my clients is just to notice it, own it, and then again, use processes then to go ahead and to work through them. And that a lot of times, especially when I'm like real angry, or my anger is not proportionate to what is happening in front of me.
Mhm.
That what is happening is I am going back into past tapes, and again, it's coming up.
Mhm.
I'm pointing the finger at them saying, well, you made me angry. But again, those three fingers are pointing back. Go ahead, Bonnie.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that, those feelings that you're talking about, is that the idea is that if you can feel it, you can heal it. So know when you feel it, that is the opportunity to heal it. So instead of pushing it away, I just want to say, embrace it in that way, that, oh, I'm feeling it. Okay, now is the time that I can really look at that anger. And as you said, pointing fingers is really counterproductive.
Yes.
Counterproductive, but everything starts with awareness. Awareness, just like this conversation, having dialogue, that's how it starts. Yes.
Bonnie Gonzalez, we're all out of time.
Yes, I know.
Boy, time flies when you're having fun. So tell everyone about your show and when it is here on our network.
Yes, I am your doula for grief, and I am on Mondays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And what I'm doing on my program is just moving the needle on grief, bringing it out of the shadows and into our lives, because grief offers us the opportunity to heal. The superpower of grief is healing. So thank you.
Bonnie Gonzalez, we're honored to have you on our network. Thank you so very much.
And congratulations to you on your upcoming nuptial. No, on your upcoming.
You better not say that to Mrs. Mangus in the background. Yeah, what's you're saying? No, thank you. Yeah, it's a real honor. Again, I can't think of a better place to receive my degree rather than at the INTA convention. Bonnie Gonzalez, again, thank you so very much. Thank you for being on our program. And just a programming note that Bonnie's also going to be on Jim Webb's program, The Miracle of Prosperity, this coming Sunday night here on New Thought Media Network. Bonnie, I'm going to put you back in the waiting room, and then I'll talk to you when we're off the air. Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you. I'm indebted.
Oh, thank you. All right. So it's time for us to go here. Just to let you know again, you can really help us out here by your financial support. It really goes a long way to really helping us again reach the world with this empowering message of New Thought. So again, go to ntmedia.org/donate. All right. On behalf of us here at the New Thought Media Network, this is Pastor Michael Mangus, and I am wishing you a wonderful week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.